Man, this is this is a tough call. What a year it has been, and what a historic year for me personally. Grant, this year I had the benefit of going into the 2021 season of having Regal Unlimited, and that's been beautiful to get me and help me financially to go and see all the things I want to go see, since I'm not a pro and since I'm not sponsored or paid or watched by a lot of people. So I'm just kind of going out and seeing these and posting them of my own accord. But Regal Unlimited has made it very easy for me to go see all of that. So Regal, if you want to sponsor me, well shit, now's your chance. As 2021 first started, theaters hadn't fully opened up yet, but once they did, I was full swing into the movie season, and I believe this year I have gone to see more movies in a theater than I have any other year of my life. As I'm writing and filming this top 10, I believe I am still seeing movies throughout the rest of the year, but I'm pretty confident that I have my top 10 up in the old Conquer, and I'm gonna do this. But yes, this year I saw a record of 46. I think after this it might be 47. Put the number there. I saw almost 50 movies this year in theaters. And next year, provided that, knock on wood, provided that no other COVID-related incidences happen to shut the theaters down again, I will be seeing more than 50 next year. We'll see. But yeah, I made it through basically a full fiscal year reviewing films, almost 50 of them. I have stuck to my promise that I made to myself of reviewing every film I see in a theater. I'm now finally at the crucial point where I was like, well, I like doing top 10s, and I thought I had enough of a body of work this year to pull from where I could actually make one. So without further ado, here's my only thing I would say when prefacing this. So this is my personal top 10. Again, let me stress that, me personally. My criteria for why I like or love a movie is typically based on a variety of factors, but at the end of the day, some of my decisions will seem contradictory, maybe even to my reviews I gave them earlier in the year. Every film featured on this list I have reviewed in at least 10 plus minute depth, usually non-spoiler-y, so I've reviewed each film I'm about to talk about, so I'm not going to go into excruciating detail. But these films I chose either because of their, production value, the performances given therein, the visual nature of the film. Everything that's gone into this has been like whether I like it, my enjoyment, personal enjoyment, but also my personal respect for the films itself. It's hard to get into all the criteria, but just know this. These are my personal picks. There are some that I might love that one could argue were not good films, but it's all pretty subjective. So, oh boy, let's just get right into it.
Give me the goddamn kitty cat bracelet!
So to start her off, at number 10, we have Nobody. I will put Nobody on my top 10. Yeah, I love Nobody. It was great. I think that basically it's like a middle-aged white suburban John Wick. Like, the trailers sold me on it, and I think your average person was like, I don't know how to feel about that, but I think they handled it really well. Is it a 5-star movie? No, but what impressed me was the lengths at which Bob Odenkirk went to in this film. Similar to Charlize Theron in Atomic Blonde, he did a lot of his own training, his own stunts. There's excellent camera work, there's some really solid fight scenes, memorable moments. There's some pretty good names in here. It's entertaining, it's endearing, it was action-packed. While it might not be as crazy or well-funded or even debatably as good as, your John Wick of the world, I really enjoyed Nobody, and I think it's a solid, just good old, R-rated, just rock'em sock'em, beat 'em up, gotta go do this for the family. And it was great. It's every middle-aged suburban dad's dream. I think it was handled really well, and I think a lot of people slept on it, but that's my number 10.
Is this really all there is?
Coming at number 9, we have one that's definitely going to be a controversial pick because it was split between the critics out there really enjoying and respecting it, and the audiences out there being like, why wasn't there more action? Or it didn't feel like a romping, gallivanting adventure to me. At number 9, I have The Green Knight. I did a bit of a deep dive toward the latter half of this year, because this film came out super early in 2021. I did a deep dive into this, and this film, like many A24 films out there, I don't think can really be taken at face value. You're welcome to, and if you go into it at face value, I mean, you'll get some entertainment from it. I described it from my gut reaction description of this film was, it's a beautiful fever dream, and that's definitely what it feels like. And as I went into interviews about the film with the filmmaker, a lot of his shots he would just compose a certain way, so nothing crazy is happening, but it leaves a lot of room for you as the viewer to kind of fill in your interpretation, your take of it, what you get, what messages you're getting, and all this. And looking in the video essays about how, similar to Babadook, how Green Knight can be taken and reinterpreted in different ways, I went down that rabbit hole, and upon subsequent viewings of The Green Knight, there's definitely like more hidden subtext to it. There's deeper meaning. It's not as crazy as Shutter Island is in terms of like the more you dig, the more you find, but I think Green Knight is a very underrated film. I think it's fantastically directed, very well acted, and just if you're an admirer of film and you're looking for something that's not just going to be surface or skin deep, I think you'll have fun digging your teeth into this one.
Calm down, mate. I'm not dead, it's just a performance. Now get down here, play along.
At number 8, this was almost a different movie. I almost changed this at the last minute due to recent events, but I gotta go by the rating and by my gut feeling when I first saw this, just overall. But number 8, I will put as Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Golden Rings. This was a near perfect Marvel film for me. I thought it was really enjoyable. I love how they were able to finally go into different cultures in Marvel, and also just like, basic different, to explore different cultures in humanity and actually bring that and represent it properly on screen. Is it a perfect film? No, but it's pretty close to it. I think I was really into it. There were dramatic stakes. The action was great. The visuals looked good. Some argue that towards the third, like the final act, like some of the fights might get a little bit, your stereotypical like Marvel them versus them, or kind of like CGI this or that. Arguments can be made, but going based off of my gut reaction and how well I remember rating it and how much I remember enjoying it, I would put Shang-Chi as my number 8. It was a solid Marvel film. Like, really enjoyable. There's some moments in retrospect where I was like, does this really work out? But I think it does. I think overall it works.
Baby, please.
At number 7, I have one that I almost forgot came out this year, but going through, I remember how much I liked it. Quiet Place Part 2. I think it was a great sequel that the reason I liked it so much was because it does exactly what I think a sequel should do. You take what was at the baseline, what made up the film in the universe, and then you take that and you expand upon that. You grow from that while still staying true to the original. And what better way to do that than literally have the film take place right after the events of the first one, open the scope of the world, increase the stakes. There's still creativity, it's still R, so there's still like that good amount of like when the violence happens, it's real, growth in the characters in the now, but also in flashbacks. It's practical where it can be. They expand more actors. They just, everything they can do to increase all aspects of the production quality and of the actual film, they do, and in my opinion, it worked. So often you can so easily fuck up a sequel. Not only was this a great film that, I don't know if it rivals the first one. I think back in my review I say it's kind of on the same level. I think it's hard to beat the first Quiet Place, but this one definitely tries to, and it sets us up for what's going to probably be a third and final Quiet Place movie, which I'm very excited for.
You're crying.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Coming in at number 6, we're going to dive away from the horror and dive away from the action-adventure and go to a more recent release that the more I think about it, the more it just makes me smile and makes me think, and just, it's one that not many people heard about when it came out, and I don't think people will hear about it for a minute either, but I really enjoyed it. Come On, Come On. I really enjoyed Come On, Come On. It was such a fascinating film on multiple levels. Again, shocker, another A24 film, but I love Joaquin Phoenix. I love this kid who is now like on my radar in terms of like good child actors. This film, it was about the performances and the subject matter for me. Just the premise of going around interviewing kids and hearing them talk about the world and their points on it, but also have a more contained story about this guy and this, like, not really surrogate son, but just a kid he has to watch out for a little while, and like kids asking all the hard questions, and he's trying to field them and figure out like how do I answer, like be an adult with this kid, but don't answer too truthfully, what do I do? And in doing so, I think talking to kids when they start really asking the hard-hitting questions reveals a lot about ourselves, them, what we think, and kind of humanity in general. I think it's a really good, like, it's a think piece for sure. Not to mention the film itself was like a very well done drama. I think it was like a good dramatic little film, not too dramatic, still lighthearted, plenty of laughs, but it's a thinker. And I think I liked it. It was just watching, as all the interviews say, it's like watching two kid actors on screen. It was great. I liked it. Now, top 5. Oh, God, I'm going back and forth. I think I have it. I have it written down. I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. And here we go. Just, you know what? Fuck it. Top 5. So.
Who's Milton?
What?
I don't remember any Milton.
Fuck!
Number 5, I have the, very important distinction, the Suicide Squad. I don't know if I'll get a lot of support in this. For a lot of people, they liked it until the third act. For me, I went to go see it in 4DX with a group of friends, and throughout the entire film, I just remember being entertained, laughing my ass off, loving how it was just unapologetically James Gunn. I know some of you out there don't like him. I get that. That's all well and good. I respect your opinions, but mine is that the Suicide Squad did what, in my opinion, again, the original Suicide Squad failed to do, which was to really bring these characters, give them appropriate screen time, and then like just develop them, give them like plenty of humor, plenty of laughs, crudeness, but also a surprising amount of heart. The way this film jumps from like comedy to action to like the blood and gore where it's needed, which is everywhere, and then still just also balance like some serious dark moments and some surprising moments of character growth, practical where it can be, costume design is on point, all these yahoos you never heard of in the DC universe are all broad and entertaining. I didn't know who the fuck Polka Dot Man was until this movie, and he was like one of my favorite characters in the whole thing. Really, most importantly of all, this film gave me, I think, a sense of not only entertainment, but a sense of what a lot of film and television doesn't always manage to do: stakes. When I go into a film, a way to get me invested in a film is when I go into a film where anything can happen to anybody. Like, anybody can fucking die in this movie. Anything could happen. That's when you got me hooked. That's when I'm like, okay, well, now I really care, because character decisions, what they say and what they do, will matter. So, I mean, that's when you really start getting invested, and especially when the dramatic stakes are raised upon subsequent viewings. It's been thoroughly entertaining, laugh out loud, funny for me, great action, fun to watch. Fantastic film overall. I loved it, and I would love to see James Gunn just keep doing movies. Just keep doing them. All right, the nitty gritty. All right, I think I got it.
If we only had more time.
My number 4 pick was the end of an era. Was still the action we loved, but a surprising amount of heart and depth. Again, not perfect, but still as close as I'll ever get to Skyfall. What is it going to be? No Time to Die. It's No Time to Die. Is it the best Bond film out there? No. Is it the best Daniel Craig Bond film out there? No. Is it pretty close? Yeah, I'd say it was great. And watching it again, I mean, just, it looks so good. There's just a solid cast. The supporting cast could have used some more love, but just, maybe I'm biased. Just seeing Daniel Craig giving like a surprising amount of heart and depth to it, and really like making this like feel like a James Bond film, and actually not just some like, oh yes, here's a chauvinistic line here, bang bang shoot shoot, that's the end of the movie. Like, no, there was heart, there was emotion, there's, if you didn't cry by the end of it, I don't know, like, you're a stronger man than I guess, I don't know, but I like it. The only thing I wish was that trailers didn't show so much, but looking at it from an unbiased perspective of no trailers, no marketing, I mean, great moments, great action, great send-off of Daniel Craig, good production. Like I can go on and on, but I think No Time to Die was just great. It was a great Bond film. I loved it. Could have been worse. I think it was a good, appropriate send-off and very memorable for me. Top three. Okay, I'm gonna get this out of the way now because it was gonna have to be in the list somewhere because I did really I loved it. I mean, it was great. I was smiling like an idiot throughout it. I'm a sucker for nostalgia, but I think it was actually handled well, surprisingly well, and I'm very pleasantly surprised with like how well the movie itself turned out as a whole. Again, is it perfect? No, but
how did you just do that? I'm a really good lawyer.
I'll put No Way Home as number 3. It was great. Look, childhood, God. It's hard to put into words. In the review, I might have seemed standoffish. I was almost afraid to say something positive, only because I just didn't want to be another guy getting up there being like, oh my God, guys, No Way Home was an awesome, phenomenal movie, perfect. It's not perfect. There are flaws, and the more that I dig, the more that I find a few inconsistencies. But for the baseline of what it is, it's a fantastic Spider-Man film. It's great. Poor Tom Holland. He goes through it in this film. Goes to show it's not just about high-flying, web-swinging action. There's a lot of, like, serious matters that come with being a superhero and doing the right thing. We've seen it in Infinity War, we've seen it in Endgame, we've seen it in Marvel films in general. Being a hero is not always sunshines and roses and all this. There's some serious shit that comes with it, and the more that I look into this, and I'm gonna go see it again and again probably, it was great. I loved it. I'm excited to see it again. All right, we're at the final 2. Even as I'm doing this list, I'm worried that I'm making the wrong calls, and these two swapped places so many times in my head. God, but I think this is fair, and it goes with what I'm not sure about my gut, but I think my heart says this.
We don't get a lot of things to really care about.
Number 2 is a film that not a lot of people are going to have in their top 10 lists. I don't think so. But it spoke to me in multiple levels. It was my most viewed movie review this year, I gotta say. Maybe it's a clickbaity title, maybe because I had some valid points to say, maybe it's because it's a little bit of the old subdued Cage rage. But I gotta say, Pig is number 2 for me. For reasons that I almost can't put into words, I loved this movie. It surprised me with how deep it got. Like everybody saw the trailer, and what did everybody say? What did everybody say when they saw the trailer? Oh, it's John Wick with a pig. It is most certainly not John Wick with a pig. It is a heartbreaking, almost gut-wrenching, just sad story. It's just one of those movies where it's just about humans and about loss and about like legacy and suffering and what it means to live and like what are your driving motivations for like I'm not gonna get too much into it. Like I said, I already gave a review for it, but as I said back when I posted the review for the title of it, Pig for me was the epitome of cinema, what it means to like have a film. It doesn't have to be a mega blockbuster. It doesn't have to be an action smashing this or that or this super serious subversive drama. But Pig, just a trailer popped up. A few months later it came out. I went to see it because I was curious, and the performance that Nicolas Cage gives, and of course the rest of the cast, I mean Alex Wolff and the like, but it's just a very special movie for me for reasons that, like I said, I can barely even articulate. But I have to put it number 2. Any person who's a fan of cinema, watch Pig. I'd say it's the biggest surprise for me this whole year. I did not think Pig was going to be the masterpiece, the masterclass of cinema that it was, but damn was I proven wrong when I went to go see it. Give this movie your time, even if you don't like Nicolas Cage, even if you only watch movies occasionally, at least see it. It's a powerful movie, in my opinion. And maybe I'm just talking out my ass, but I put Pig as number 2. Oh, and this was it. So this is number 1. But before I get to number 1, there are some films that were so close to getting into my top 10 this year, but I just couldn't fit them all. So, here's my honorable mentions. I got 3 of them. My 3 honorable mentions for what almost made it onto the list. What almost could have even been like close to the top 5 or so, but these are just my honorable mentions for my top 10 favorites of the year.
Extra noses pounces on you, ooh, you're so warm. Couldn't help but notice your bolts from across the floor. Noses your Nicky Wakey till day Matilde, hee hee. Unzips your baggiest pants, oh baby, you so musky. Take me home, pet me, and make me yours and don't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I almost swapped Nightmare Alley and Shang-Chi. I almost took Shang-Chi out to put Nightmare Alley in, but I feel like I would have done disservice to Shang-Chi. But Nightmare Alley, like I said in my last review, criminally underrated. My number one is...
I see you found the mood.
Dune. I gotta put Dune as my number one. I don't know why. For me, that's what I believe to be the answer and how I feel. Part of it feels wrong. I don't know what it is about it, but most of me feels right about this. I almost thought about putting Pig as number one, but it feels like if done properly, it could be the next sci-fi epic for me. And I've been looking for something, searching the cosmos for the next Star Wars, for the next film that's like a sci-fi, borderline space opera, but that has like plot and like Game of Thrones lore and big stakes. And this has all of it. There's so much lore, houses, characters. But what's so impressive about this film for me is how, on an entry level, how it's handled. I had not read a single sentence from any Dune book. And by the end of this movie, I was in. I understood the worlds, the characters, devices used, things that cater to the narrative, characters, the war that was going on, the economy of these worlds, all this stuff I'm eating up like lore. And the fact that it was able to be handled so well by one of my favorite directors, the director of one of my favorite movie, Blade Runner 2049. I always keep bringing this guy up and this movie up, but I do love it. The fact that it just goes to show how skilled and talented and versatile this guy is, but I think it's a phenomenal piece of sci-fi with great performances all around. There were complaints from some critics out there that were like, oh, well, it sets up a third act that never comes. No, it's the first in a series. That's the thing, is like, as a standalone film, does it leave a little bit to be lacking by the end of it? A little bit, yeah. But even if that's just the only one they made, I think that's still fitting of an ending for the film. And since it's not, and they've confirmed multiple parts, I'm even more excited because there's going to be so much more. Just going to continue that great story. This was the development stage, and now we're going to have progress and narrative, and now we're going to go balls to the wall, sci-fi gloriousness, and I'm here for it. But yeah, I thought Dune was just phenomenally directed, cinematography, the visual style, the acting, the performances, the lore, all of it. I think it was a phenomenal sci-fi film. And I know that there's mostly positive reviews with some holdouts here and there, but I think for me it was my favorite film of the year. I'm still questioning that, and there are still a couple films I'm seeing before this year officially ends, but as it stands, I'm pretty sure this is my top 10 list. Whew, I feel winded. I was nervous making this because nobody out there second guesses myself more than myself. So I wasn't even sure if what I was doing was with the right calls, but I feel fairly confident this is my top 10 for 2021. And it makes me excited to go into 2022 and see what the next top 10 will be a year from now. But of course, as always, thank you guys and gals so much for watching. I wouldn't be doing this if there weren't at least one of you idiots out there. I'm looking at you, Mom. You're not an idiot, but you watch it because you're like, well, it's my son, right? So it's like, but there are other people out there that are like, what's this guy think about movies? And they'll watch the reviews. So I'm like, thanks. I appreciate it. But I wouldn't do this if nobody was watching. I mean, this is the legacy, I guess, but it's always endearing when people support it and are curious to see my opinions and bring also recognition to some of these films and put them more in the spotlight. So thank you so much for watching my top 10. I appreciate the support as always. And yeah, stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review. Love you all. Have a great new year and goodbye. This is the final goodbye of 2021. Oh, but you might see it on the 1st of January, so this is the last one. Oh, it's crazy. Goodbye, 2021, travelers.